Okay, so I think we're live in the Facebook group and I'm recording it. Should be for anybody who is missed this live will be in the group. So I'll just share screen and we'll get started. All right. Okay, so this is really part two of a two-part process. So I got started 2 weeks ago, and I started did marketing. So this is the sales part of it. So marketing and sales are kind of the heads and tails of your business. So if your marketing isn't right, your sales isn't going to be right. So it's kind of the one play off the other. So I will just go into a recap actually of the client acquisition process as I know it to be and what I teach in my program to be. So last week we talked about kind of the foundations of your business, basically getting clear on who you're serving, how you're going to help them with your offer. So if that isn't right, anything on the marketing sales doesn't work. So it's fundamental you're kind of clear on those basics, and it's amazing how people are not clear on that, and their marketing is misaligned, and they're not getting many sales, or they're talking to the wrong people on sales calls. So the foundations are really important, and marketing and putting out your platform, whether that's Facebook or other platforms, and putting out impactful content or running events. So you're generating leads, you're generating appointments, and those appointments where you get opportunities to qualify people on calls, and then make offers and make sales, and then onboarding people, and then you're in your delivery. That's nothing more complicated than that. But as I say, there has to be alignment through all that process. If there's a misalignment, elements are not going to work. Your marketing isn't going to work, and you're certainly not going to get the sales opportunities that you want for your business. So this presentation or webinar is about that sales aspect, and what I understand it to be, and kind of what it means in an organic marketing perspective. So what you'll learn today is what makes people buy, that fundamental driver, that sales psychology, about kind of what people kind of actually take action. What I know, kind of 7-step sales process. So I'll go through the different steps of actually the sales process. I'll talk about kind of whether that be through a 1-call strategy or 2-call strategy. I advocate 2 calls. It's difficult to kind of get it all. It's overwhelming for someone to actually do it in 1 call, I find. And common objections, kind of objections you would get on calls. So I put the slide up because it's a guy I listen to quite a lot. He's not everybody's cup of tea, it's Grant Cardone. But what he says is, everybody is in sales. It's, and this is, Sell or Be Sold, which is actually a book I would recommend people get. I'm listening it again at the minute. Is actually, you're actually selling or you're actually being sold to, constantly, whether that be financially or non-financially. Think about a situation in your life whereby you were selling yourself, you were selling, influence to get a raise at work. You were influencing your partner to kind of do a particular, to go to a certain event. We're always selling, or we're being sold to by others. So it's a continuous dynamic, and that's what I don't understand with coaches who say, I don't like selling. Well, you've been selling all your life. You just haven't known it. So it's a skill that can be learned, and that it's a critical skill actually to learn, especially when you're starting out, because it's what's going to make whether you have a business or not. Everybody talks about having a coaching business. If you don't have paying clients for your coaching business, it's not a coaching business. So look at that. So why do people buy? So people do not buy, and this is critical, your offer, that you, your brand, or your testimonials. That might be radical to hear for some people, but those are all contributing factors to kind of how people buy, but on their own, it won't make people take action. What people buy is states on the surface and emotional level. You are taking your prospect on a journey from an undesirable state to a more desirable state. So that emotional response that you want to elicit from your prospect to turn it into a buyer. So on your program is the path of least resistance from their current situation to their desired situation. That is what you are trying to get overall in your sales process, sales call. So I just thought kind of it's an important aspect to understand because it's not, you know, listing a load of services and expecting people to buy. That's not what people you know, generate an emotional response for. You're talking about states and emotional states to their current situation to a desired situation. So the only two jobs you have to do on a sales call that is, again, understand if you can help them. That gives a clear understanding of their current situation and desired situation, just like we talked about. So it's kind of meeting them where they're at, finding out, you know, where the problem is, where the pain problem is, and how, and if you can help them. If you can't help them, you know, just walk away. You know, it's no point trying to convince people onto a call. Convince people that you have a solution if they don't need that solution. And also, you know, eliminate objections before the close. So you want to destroy other possibilities to getting there, that you are the best, you know, solution for them. And all of these things that are coming to the call with all of the, you know, I don't have enough time, I don't have the right money, you know, all of these objections, that you destroy those objections. So it's you're the obvious choice to kind of move forward. So talk about the sales process, and I say this is a 7-step process, and it's kind of you can do it in 1 call or 2 call, but I usually do two calls: the discovery call and a full-blown kind of sales call. So the first step is framing. You know, when you're first getting onto a call, maybe you build up rapport. Maybe if it's organic through Facebook, you've maybe had a small conversation going back and forward in Messenger, and you say, hey, I think I can help you, but I'm not sure. But building that curiosity and proposing a call, and then they book the call, and then, okay, you're on the call. And so you want to set the frame for the call. It's your call. You kind of say, you know, set out what the call's about, what the expectations of that, and what the future steps would be if they want to take it further. So don't let, I fell in this trap when I first started. I wasn't strong in framing the call, and actually the center of gravity moved in the call, and actually they were controlling it, and it was just turned into a mess. So set the frame for the call in terms of how the expectations and the outcome of the call. And then get crystal clear picture of their current situation. Like I said, find out where they are or what's holding them back, you know, what have they tried before it didn't work, and uncover those pain points really, and actually find to rub a bit of salt into their wound. Basically, kind of, you know, people move because of pain. They don't move, you know, they want to move away from that towards pleasure. It's kind of that pain to pleasure dynamic. You know, they want to move away from something that they dislike. So you really want to sort of maybe agitate that to get them to sort of you know, see that you potentially have a solution for them. So step 2 is, once we've sort of understand where they are and the pain they're dealing with, is setting that future visualization, that future pacing of what life could be like. You know, if everything, you know, that they want happen? You know, where would your income need to be if you quit the 9 to 5? So if you're a business coach and kind of like my space, you know, how would that feel like? What level of income would make you like you see in the next 12 months? How would that impact your life? So people are not buying coaching services. They're not waking up in the morning saying, I need a coach. They're waking up in the morning with a problem to solve, and how, if that's solved, it would impact their life. How their relationships would be better, a relationship with themselves would be better. So that's the kind of focus you want to have in painting that picture for your client. Step 3 is admission. You know, so you're painting that picture of the future, and then you want to say, can qualify that. So do you think you can do that on your own? So, you know, maybe they've tried it and they said, do you think you can do it? What, you know, or do you want to do that faster? You know, do you want a proven system and guidance? And so the pain point today, have you tried to mention that you want this desired income in 12 months? What's stopping you from getting there on your own? So you're trying to frame it that, you know, you are the best solution, that they have tried it on their own, it hasn't worked. If they've tried various options, it hasn't worked. So you're sort of getting that self-realization for them that, you know, that they're not going to move from where that pain point they're dealing on their own, and you are the, you know, the obvious choice. Step 4 is, you know, commitment to change. This is really fundamental. If you haven't got a commitment from the other person that they want to change, it's no point. You might as well end the call right there, because you do not want people coming into your program that are not committed to change. You don't want to be dragging people through your program who, you know, you have to put all of this effort, and they're not reciprocating that effort. So it's people who, you know, and a very good way of that is using a scale. And I learned this from actually Billy Jean. He uses this quite a lot. It sounds like a fairly determined change your circumstances on a scale of 1 to 10. So using that scale, how committed are you to making this happen? So I'd say you need 10. Basically, if your services are life-changing and you know, your total belief in terms of what the outcome you can get for your client, you need a 10. If you're not a 10, dig deeper and why it isn't a 10. Because you want that level of commitment and excitement from that other person. And then, or, you know, how sad would it be if your life wasn't exciting, and then sort of, you know, say, well, if your life was in the exact same place it was right now in 6 months' time. So you're sort of saying, well, if you keep on going where you're going, your life is, what's that going to look like in 6 months' time? So you're getting them to sort of realize that, you know, now is the time to take action. Now is the time, you know, that they have to do something about it. So sales process, step 5 is basically permission to pitch. Basically, you've gone through the process, agitated the pain, that you have the best solution for it. You got a level of commitment. Yeah, it's a 10 on the scale. They're excited to know exactly how you can help them. So you're kind of introducing, well, based upon everything you've mentioned, certainly sounds you're determined to change your circumstances. I have an opportunity I feel may be a good fit. Is it okay if I talk to you about it? So just gently sort of say, you know, based on what you said, you're not trying to impose your, you know, convince. You're using what they have said to open a window that, you know, saying, yeah, well, based on what you said, I think, you know, you might be good for what you mind if I actually, you know, present something to you. And then tie those pain points back to your solution. So you would go through your program in terms of the pillars of your program and tie those pillars to the pain points that you have the solution for that. Well, and then, well, I help people like you to achieve the desired goal with insert the process. So I talk about in the offer side of it, create a unique process around your services. I'm very much into creating, you know, a method that is unique to you. So you can create curiosity around that people would want to know more about that. So and then important to establish how you can help them. Keep it high level, fixed on the outcome. So don't get into the weeds of, you know, down, you know, particularly in the minutiae of your program on the call. Keep it at a high level, at the pillar level, and the big outcomes that you can achieve through that pillars, and tie it back to what they're going through. So sales process 6. This is precision answering. Now, basically, you presented, you've asked permission to present your offer. You presented your offer, and now they're thinking the formula idea. Then maybe they've got they're now thinking about how this could work for them. They're thinking a formula that their solution could help them out. That they're getting ideas about, yeah, that might work for me. But for you is not to over pitch at this point. It's not to sort of say kind of over deliver. Well, add more onto that, because you'll just create more confusion, and adding more detail is not what you should be doing, because if you add more detail, more confusing. If it's more confusing, their mind shuts down. So you want to be confident in your pitch, be confident in how you deliver it, but be careful not to add too much to it, because you'll create too much confusion. And then maybe they open up about some questions. What's involved? Well, there's 10 modules or 12 weeks and 1 hour training sessions. All of this should be on your pitch deck. Jane would know about this in terms of what you would have this maybe on a presentation. Maybe they would, ask certain things about particular aspects of your program, elements of your offer. So that is good, because their mind is beginning to think about, yeah, that could work for me, and they're actually more detailed. So if you're getting that engagement, that's a good sign. If you're getting kind of crickets and they're not sort of feedback, then it's probably not going well. So sales process 7. So it's the price question. Obviously, you've gone through your pitch, you kind of they're beginning to think about it, we're asking questions about it, and inevitably at a certain point, either they're going to bring up price or you bring up price. So, and it's at this point, you say the price, you just say the price and then say nothing, and just sit in that silence in some ways. But it's important at this point to highlight the value before you stack the value, and also, if there's important that when you get started, you receive immediate access to bonuses and support. So you're tying it back to kind of, the price is this, but when we move on to the next step, you're going to get this, and this. So the value should be exponentially more value than the price. So they're seeing kind of, oh, am I getting all of this value and all of this accountability and all of these resources for this price. So and that's the difference when people are competing on an hourly rate or some kind of low ticket, that people are not seeing the value, they're just seeing the price. So you do not want to be competing on price, you want to be competing on value and the value stack of your program. So so combined total is this is more, but in reality, we find that people are fully committed to making this usually work. We can usually get you started at this. So you might have some incentive built in. Say, hey, I've got this, but if you're willing to kind of sign up today, I'm willing to do it. We can get people who are committed, we can do this. So it's kind of getting people to take action. Because I've heard so many calls, hey, I'll have to think about it, I'll have to kind of talk to such and such. You've got the most engaged person in front of you and an emotional state, and you would like that, getting that decision is more beneficial there and then than waiting, for them to sort of think about it. Hey, give me 24 hours to think. We'll talk about objections later on, but to get people there, you might put a 20% discount to get started today. I say then stay silent. Kind of at that point, do not over pitch. You kind of you get the price, it's this, and then let them sit with it, sort of thing like that. And if they say yes, proceed to the next step. That's great, and and then maybe downplay the investment. I certainly don't sort of try and labor it. So as soon as we get the investment sorted, we can onboard you and get plugged in our community. So you're sort of saying, hey, let's get it sorted. and we'll move on to that onboarding and get you sorted out on the call. And I would do all of this on the call. I wouldn't wait a day or wait kind of to if someone says yes, I love what you're doing, I love to get started. Okay, send them a Stripe link or whatever to get them signed up there and then send them a kind of another link to sort of maybe an induction or form, so you can capture all the details and get a plan or blueprint together for them, so they feel as if they're being welcomed in the community. There's nothing worse than sort of people maybe paying high ticket investment and then they're just left. You want to have that onboarding a very seamless from the investment to the onboarding. Now I'll put this kind of a picture, which is it's like a meeting customer. I keep on coming back. It's sales is all about meeting your customer where they're at. It's about having the right opportunity at the right time that meets their needs. And this is sort of like an analogy of a heart surgeon. Most of the time, people are not, they don't want heart surgery. They're putting someone that's selling heart surgery at some point. Most of the time, I don't need it. It's only when maybe you're suffering from maybe heart problems, or you maybe had a pacemaker fix. A heart surgeon is a very important. At the right time, you would need the services of that person. So always be in mind that your customer, meeting your customer, meeting your customer with, you are problem and solution aware, that there's an active problem and that they're actively looking for a solution, and you are the best solution for them. You do not want to be getting onto sales calls and trying to convince people that you are the best fit for them. Just taking people, and then it's a very dispiriting experience. I've been on through it myself. Is actually qualifying people. If you don't think they're a right fit, don't book that sales call. That if you're doing short discovery call on that first few steps of actually finding out where they are, and that if they're not a fit, give them some value in terms of where the problem, educate them on an aspect of it. But if you don't feel that they're a good fit your services, leave it there. You really want to value your time in presenting your offer to people who more than likely will say yes to. You do not want to go through a sales call presenting everything and then get a no. You would have presenting your call with the more than likely they would get a yes to. So some common objections. Now you're probably aware of some of these, but most common is I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I can't start right now, I need to talk to my partner, which is always a good one. I'm not sure about this. So if the last one, not sure about this, I would kind of question whether actually it's the right person at all. If you've done your work in terms of the marketing and the content piece, and kind of you're having touch points or conversations before, and then they're still, I'm not sure about this, then there's it's a rogue element. It's a rogue, I would not be going any further with that. So objection one, I need to talk to my partner first, which is I love that one. So I agree. Totally, it's permission based. You should always think, if there's an objection, you should always start with permission. So I totally affirm them, not try and argue with them. Agree, I totally hear you. Permission. Do you mind if I ask you a question and having like an open-ended question, and then sort of say, do you like the idea of the offer? So you presented your offer, and they say yes or no. Great. What do you like about it? And to say, given the part, great. They like the offer. What is not, and then asking what is not useful in the offer that doesn't have immediate impact. So you want to drill down kind of maybe that aspect that they don't like, and then write that down and turn it into a benefit in terms of maybe something they came across that was, and basically an excuse, but it's actually a benefit. Okay, great. If we just show this to your partner, what would you think they'll say? And if they're unsure, I don't know what they would say. Okay, well, what do I want to do about this? And ask questions why they're unsure, and how good do you feel about this decision on a scale of 1 to 10. So you're trying to break that, that excuse that they have and say, well, that's not really, that's actually a benefit. That's actually helping you. It's that your what will your partner say about that? Oh, sorry, got another one. So objection 2. I need to think about it. Take the time, again, permission based, take all the time you need. What had you considering this at all? So you're kind of calling them out. So, I need to think about it. You've gone through this process and said, why, what aspects do you need clarification on? So kind of, think about what do you need to think about? So just flip the question, what aspects do you need clarification on? Because again, these is just, BS excuses a lot of the time. So just call them out. Objection 3 is, I have no money. The most common objection I get on calls. Again, permission based. What? Just move that out of the road. Okay, so I understand the finances can be challenging. Always do my best to work with people in this scenario. So you're kind of affirming, yeah, this is high ticket. This is life changing. I'm working with people who are committed. So you're kind of agreeing with them. And then let me ask you this: is this something you really want to do? Because if it's not a good fit, that's okay too. So you're saying you're let going of the outcome. If it's not a good fit, I'm fine with that. I'm here to serve you and kind of help you get to that destination you want. So, okay, so you shared with me some throughout the call that this is exactly what you need to do to move forward. So tell me, how is that you're going to afford to continue without it? So calling them again, you've actually said, you exactly what you need to do to move forward. So tell me, how are you going to go for, how are you going to afford it to continue without it? He can't, he has to invest if he wants to solve this problem. So, how can we make this a reality for you? So you're calling them out on, the investment questions. If they're dealing with that pain, they'll have to invest to kind of solve that pain. Okay. This is another great one, which I get quite a, once I make some money. This is that. So tell me, what would that work? So tell me, how would that work? Okay, so let me see if I've got this right. You're going to continue to do what you've been doing, which is not building your business. This is more in the business coaching space, building your business and even paying your bills. Continue to do what is not working until someday you'll build some money to invest in what will work. So you're calling that again. So you continue what you're on in the hope that you're going to, earn the money to kind of, to invest in what will work. So it doesn't make any sense. And then, so how, then they call them out. So how can we make this work for you? So it's calling them out on the, so you can see most of these objections are just excuses. And that you just need to break them all down to kind of get to that yes. Oh yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, it's true. They do that. So I'm just telling. Yeah, I have no money. Okay, yeah, what Monday? So okay, I think I'll put on twice there. Okay, so that's some kind of a time, money. I have to talk to my spouse type of objections. It's basically, there's either they don't believe in you, they don't believe in themselves, and they don't believe that they actually can get the result. So, it comes down kind of to, belief at the end of the day. So it's kind of breaking those kind of misplaced beliefs or those excuses they have that actually this won't work for them. So if there's a yes, take payment on the call. So as I said before, don't wait until, next day or something. I'll get back to you and kind of send you details or whatever. Get something ready when you're presenting your offer, that you have everything ready, maybe an invoice ready to go or a link ready to go. If they say yes, hey, I'm ready to kind of that, send the link straight away. And then plan next steps on the call. Plan what you're going to do to move them. Hey, you said this, and this. Well, in the first couple of weeks, we're going to be touching that. We're going to be making a blueprint on how that would look for you on our next call. I'm just going to send you a link, an induction form, where I can get more information about our induction call, so we can set that up quickly for you. Get them excited about how those next steps will work. As I send that onboarding link. Make sure that they're onboarded correctly. And I know that you will get no's, and keep them on your list, because a no might not be not yet. So that's a lot of people are kind of saying no, kind of as an reaction, an automatic reaction, kind of no. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's not. I don't have, legitimately don't have the money, especially in these, challenging economic times. But it doesn't mean that they're, it's not ready yet. I've had people on my list for 6 months and they've signed up. So you don't want to lose, those people. So keep them on your list, keep nurturing them, keep them on value, keep them in your group. And, eventually they'll see that you are the best solution. That problem that they're dealing with is not going away. Maybe even get worse over time, probably will. So, and you have the best solution for them. So, summary. People buy to change states. Again, it comes back. It's not offers new you. It's testimonials. It's not all that. People buy to change states. So you want to get that emotional investment that you have the right solution for them. You can change them to a much more desirable state. Say that more offers equals more sales. The more time you get an opportunity to present your offer on a call, the more sales you make. It becomes a numbers game, whereby you start with conversations, and many conversations turn into booking calls, many calls turn into sales calls, and many sales calls turn into offers and sales. So you can actually set the whole metrics up about and reverse engineer how many sales you want, and then that drives what income you need as a coach, and you can reverse engineer how much conversations and many calls we want to make. So the upshot is you need to be making more offers, more sales. The most successful coaches are making offers every single day. They have a system whereby they're promoting themselves, promoting offers, promoting different level of offers, the core offer, downsell, upsell offer, and they're generating that revenue every single day. Second, practice sales calls. This is get uncomfortable. This isn't something a lot of coaches are natural. Certainly it wasn't for me, and I'm still a work in progress on that front in terms of kind of getting comfortable on sales calls, but you'll screw up, but you will learn from that. Record your calls, and that's something I do in my program, is kind of record the sales call so we can digest whether that it's hitting the mark, that you're framing the call right, you're setting the tone for that, you're digging into the pain, they understand that they can't do it themselves, and you're the best solution for it. You present your offer with confidently, unapologetically, and at that point you've won. If you present your offer and you still get a no, you still say, hey, I'm sorry, great call, I've had this many times. You present your offer and still, thank you very much, but it's just not the right time for me. And even if you do, and it genuinely may not be the right time for a lot of people, you still won the day. I still think that is a win. You keep that person, they'll be on your list to sort of, you know, nurture later on. Also, if you're getting a ton of objections, something's wrong with your marketing. If I went through those objections, and if you're getting, you know, a lot of pushback on that, or they're getting blank stares, or you're not getting the right vibe or feedback, I would question your audience is right, whether you actually are targeting the right people who really want your services. So there's probably something fundamentally wrong with your marketing, and it's not a sales problem. So I think that's it, actually. So is there any questions from anybody? I think Maria, Jane, you're the only ones on the call at the minute. Anything from you, Jane, Maria? Anything there?
I think it is like, I mean, there's been numerous, you know, sort of listening to you sort of saying all that, it, you know, a lot of that has been me, you know, it's like, you know, it just wasn't genuinely, you know, I think when I first started speaking to you, I think I was sort of trying to find somewhere to live.
Yes, that's right.
And, you know, it was really sort of heavy going, because we rented for many years, and then our landlord was selling and they wanted us out within a certain amount of time, and you know, we ended up doing all the court papers, and you know, it was really, it wasn't just a case of sort of selling a house and trying to buy another one.
Mm-hmm.
We were, you know, we were like, oh my god, there were points I was like, we're going to be homeless. But luckily we found a really lovely house, sort of, you know, 5 minutes from the sea. It's beautiful. And then, as you know, my son's been really, really mentally ill. And these things really have, you know, so those sort of reasons are very genuine and very, you know, that you can't even sort of think about anything else, because that just drains you.
Well, you know, it's you know, people have to be in the right space. The people are not in the right space if they're dealing, you know, you know, life issues or whatever like that. They're not going to be focused in purchasing high-tech coaching services. So they have to be.
Yeah.
You're bringing people who genuinely, you know, are suffering, and they're actively looking for a solution. And you are, as I say, sales process doesn't happen in isolation. You've maybe nurtured those people over time. You've maybe put lead magnets out. You're running master classes, and they put their hands up, and it's like they like what they hear about a particular aspect of your services, and you want to explore that further. You get on the sales call and kind of, you know, go through, you know, aspects of what I've just said to find out, you know, whether you're a right fit or not. And you know, a lot of the time, you know, you know, it might not work out. You know, you know, it refines in terms of the audience. If you're talking to the wrong audience, you're not getting, you know, much conversions. So if you're talking to the right audience with the kind of the right needs and problems, and you're the right solution, you're going to get more hands raised and more you know, sales conversions on that. So it's all.
Yeah. So what do you do, Jane? Do you mind me asking?
I've got a cancer healing program when you first been diagnosed with cancer. So it's about think before you act, and how you can get yourself in a healthier position than just, you know, going down the immediate route of the conventional treatments. So it's all about giving yourself the time to reevaluate your whole life on a sort of mental, physical, emotional level.
Wonderful.
So yeah, a bit different to sort of just. So my niche is really small, and this is the thing: you've got to have to get cancer really to want to work with me or be sick, and then have that mind to actually think outside the box, that maybe there's something you can do to start redressing the state of your body before you actually make that big decision. So I had cancer myself 5.5 years ago, and I went the holistic route. So I didn't touch the conventional side. So this is my challenge. Yeah. So I mean, I'm getting a lot of interest, but at the moment, no. So I only started this last year and didn't get very far, hence I'm working with Michael. So I'm trying to sort of work out how I actually get engagement. It's a bit out there really, but yeah, that's what
I think it's brilliant. I think a lot of people are now kind of realizing that, and you know, there's more information, isn't there, about the you know, the body can, you know, you've got to give it a chance, haven't you? But I think people are just generally scared.
Yeah, it's that fear mindset, isn't it? So that's what I'm working on. Yeah, I'm just padding along at the moment. So I can't say I don't have a business at the moment, as Michael would say, because I've got no sales, but I'm going.
You're building interest, you know, you're the content engine, you're kind of building up the content. And it's like a flywheel. Once you kind of, you know, people are more exposed and the multiple touch points they have with you over time, it's inevitable. We'll say, right, I want to know more about about Jane's program. I kind of want to know kind of. So
yeah, and I got a really good message. Well, I had about 3 messenger messages lately, and I had a really good one days ago. I've had a sickness bug, so I've messaged her, so I'll get back to her because I wasn't well for a couple of days. But she's, because I put a post out about alcohol and that relating to cancer, and she's had breast cancer, and she can't stop. She needs to work out how she stops drinking. So this is a question I was going to ask. When you do I've got my pillars to my program, you don't sell bits of it, do you? You really want to just do the whole program?
Yeah, you can. I advertise kind of when you're have a core offer, you know, don't sort of, you might have a downsell, kind of, if people have, you know, you might do a custom offer at the time, sort of, well, I'm not, you know, my situation is this, and you might say, well, I can actually do maybe a custom offer that might help you with this particular aspect of it. You could do that as a particular downsell or some kind of but I would stick promoting your core offer. If you're not getting in a hands rate on your core offer, then maybe, you know, there's some work on the core offer. But if people are saying kind of, well, actually I want, this is what I want, maybe okay, well, then I'll have that as an alternative offer.
Yeah, and what I seem to be attracting, which is, I can't quite work out why, is, you know, I'm putting my story, I'm getting good engagement on that, but I'm attracting people, say, who've already had cancer and they've done the conventional and they're 3 or 4 years down the line. So they're not really my ideal client, but that's what I'm attracting at the moment.
Right.
But so I don't quite understand that, because I put everywhere that I've done it naturally.
Okay, well then maybe we need to look at maybe the content in terms of talking about the before, kind of what the aspects of prevention or aspects of, rather than, you know, after. I don't know, it maybe focus more on the prevention side of it and doing more stories, or your stories about how you know, these are the things that helped me, you know, that I know it helped the other one to you know, help with any potential diagnosis of it. But maybe it's some change in content with that. So.
Yeah, it's curious because they're, you know, people are finding the content interesting, and I'm not getting hundreds of new followers, but I mean, this week I've had 13 new followers just pop up from, you know, people I have no idea who they are. So these are just people now coming in. So I'm being watched at the moment. And but I think, as I've said to you before, this is me finding my feet, what's going on. And it's also good just for me to see what engagement and practice as I'm going along.
I put out a call to action on a workshop, some kind of and see what the take up is. You know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a workshop next week. I'm actually doing one next week on the 21st. Yeah. So I've got 4 ladies, and that's based around diet. So 2 ladies have got cancer and 2 haven't. So and again, I'm figuring the 2 that haven't, they're the right age that could well turn into clients at some stage in the future if we're going to be COVID. So that's my first.
It's rare to get somebody right from the get-go to kind of, you know, buy straight away. It's kind of multiple touch points, you know, especially in this day and age. People are going to be, you know, checking out content, checking out that, you know, that, and then, you know, when you feel it is right, either you feel it's right, you can outreach to them, or they approach you. But yeah, that's why I'm a big advocate of content and kind of engaging content, story-based content, to kind of get that attraction factor.
That is going well. I should put another few. I'll start changing my posts a bit now, but that the style is working really well.
Yeah, that's
So, you know,
very good.
I'm getting a lot of people from all different things that I'm attending saying that they like the style. So no, that's working. So
Well, then I would, if I would try and kind of outreach to some, try and book some calls, even though they might not be, maybe the ideal client, but try to just see where they are, just to sort of see if you think you can add value to them.
yeah, and I've got one lady that joined my group who I've got a potential. Well, I've got a call there because she filled in on my questions. She filled in that she'd like a half an hour call with me, so I'm just going to sort that out. So that'll be my first call, which should be good.
Get the first couple of calls.
Yeah.
Educate them. Don't try and solve it on a short call, and then pivot to if they're a good fit, practice your offer, get it out, and
yeah, and I also need to sort of work on the onboarding process because that's still a bit of a mystery to me. So
talk about that. There's I've got that whole automated, so it makes it much more simple. As I say on this, you want to be getting kind of that investment onboarding as seamless as possible, so people feel, yeah, I feel excited about this. I feel kind of that it's not sort of a clumsy sort of process.
yeah, and that's where I wouldn't be very smooth at the moment. But anyway, work in progress. So what does Maria do?
We'll talk about it.
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know. I mean, I've spoken to Michael before about I've worked with kids with behavioural problems and families with what should we say, dynamic problems. I've worked with kids that are really sort of quite damaged, and so I did have, because I worked in a primary school and I used to do therapy there, and it's frightening actually if something happens to or within that family dynamic, how parents do not want to sit and talk to their children about what's happened, whether it be a bereavement, a divorce, separation, whatever. So they want the school to deal with it. So I had a huge waiting list, but for things that I was like, why don't you just sit down and talk to your child about that? But they're so reluctant they don't have the skills maybe to sit and talk to their kids about that. So it's all put back on the school. But I did have a huge waiting list, and I had lots and lots of parents that were really struggling. So I was kind of printing out packs and recommending books for them to read with their kids, and they just don't have the confidence. I think a lot of it is just confidence. They don't know what to say. Like I said, especially if someone's died, or a parent has moved out, or there's alcohol abuse, drug abuse, whatever it is. So I would like to do something around that, working with families, working with parents, even working with the kids. Like I said, I had a really big waiting list for what I was doing back then, but even though I'm still being paid by them, I'm not actually working for them anymore. And then I was invited to go and work with the domestic violence team. But that is just taking forever to come up, with a reasonable pay and expectations. And so we're sort of trying to battle that out. But so, yeah, I think a lot of it will be around sort of parenting. I myself have got, I've got an autistic child. They're all older, but I've got a bipolar child. I've got one with mental health issues. I've got all these things. So I do feel that I've got quite a lot of experience. and knowledge to pass on. So that's where I think, you know, that's where my heart is. I think I want to head towards, just like Michael's saying, serving people, giving them hope that actually there is a different way of managing it, and, you know, having access to, you know, sort of local resources and stuff like that. It's a lot of people, they feel very isolated and they don't know where to ask for help, and they're too proud, I think, to ask for help a lot of the time. Don't want to admit that anything's wrong and that their husband's beating them up or their wife is putting arsenic in their food or whatever it is. And because resources are being cut back because of county cuts, the need is there. But the only sort of problem that I foresaw was that a lot of the families I was working with are all on benefits. You know, that they themselves don't work because of mental health issues or whatever. So that was a lot of kind of what I was seeing, that people were just, I had mums coming in, I was calling up debt collectors and all sorts of things, because they'd sort of fallen behind with their bills, and it's very complicated. It's quite complex. But even that, actually, even a mum coming to me and me saying, right, we'll sit for an hour, we'll call the council, we'll put your application in for universal credit. It's just stepping in and doing that for them. So even if it was like a one-time kind of call or a one-time thing, just to clear that up for them. So I don't actually know. Now that I've moved, I mean, I'm pretty much settled in now. So now that I've moved, I feel in a better space and more able to kind of narrow it down. But Michael was really helpful before, and he said, you know, just to kind of go onto Facebook and infiltrate the parenting groups, which I was doing. But I was really surprised at the toxicity in those groups. And the amount of people that argue. You might find it, Jane, you know, you've got people that say that doesn't work, that won't work, you know, you've got to do this conventional method. And it's just opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been responsible by one person, but you know, I just block anyone like that now that comes along.
Yeah, it's the
Not
best.
just not your target audience, you know, you want to be talking to people you want to help. You don't stop talking to people.
Yeah, it's definitely parents. Yeah, definitely parents. So this weekend I'm going to, now that I have a little bit more time, I'm going to actively get back into those groups, and see if I can kind of fish anyone out. So that's on my, you know, that's my call to action this weekend, is infiltrate a little bit more and find out. I think once that I've actually given my notice in from my job, I can then probably find these parents that I remember on Facebook and approach them. So that's also a plan. But I mean, hopefully I can kind of commute to work, but I'm still trying to work that out. But anyway, so Jane, the answer to your question is, I don't know. But I will know, and I have complete faith that the path will be shown to me.
Well, we can talk about it tomorrow, Maria. I can show you kind of.
Yes, absolutely. But funny thing is, Jane, my sister had breast cancer about 10 years ago. She had to have a mastectomy and everything, but a service like yours was what she was looking for back then. She wanted to do it holistically. She wanted to work with her body. She was kind of stage 3. It was quite severe at that time. And they kind of got her in straight away.
Yeah, they always do. They want to get you in within 2 or 3 weeks, and that's my it doesn't, you don't get cancer overnight. It's taken years to get there.
Yeah, I mean, even now I think it's the fear of it coming back.
Well,
so you know, like you were saying about your offer, I've also got another couple of family members that have cancer, and it's that fear of coming back and just empowering them with the knowledge. I think, you know, like I say, my sister would have jumped at the chance to kind of do it then. I mean, she's completely turned her life around. She doesn't drink, she doesn't, you know, she takes care of herself, she doesn't eat. You know, she kind of keeps her mobile phone away from her, all those sorts of things. But yeah, I think back then it would have been but I think a lot of people now, like you're saying, is they want the prevention rather than the cure,
Yeah,
which I think is really prominent, isn't it? Which might be the other two ladies that don't have cancer but want to know about prevention.
yeah, which I think is the key. So the program works both ways. So you know, it's just a healing program, really. Just get yourself in order.
Yeah,
it's
really interesting.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Good.
we'll leave it there. Thanks for the discussion. Well done there.
Thank you.
Hope you had value from
Jane,
presentation.
sorry, how do we find you, Jane? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, Jane McCourt.
Okay, I'll find you and I will. I'll speak to my sister. It might be something that she wants to look into, even though she's not as fearful as she used to be. But I will find you.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Brilliant.
No worries.
Okay, cheers.
All right.
Good to talk.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, Maria, and Jane. I'll
Yep.
let you start, and we can schedule another call, kind of as well. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Have a good day, everyone. Oh, good evening to you, Michael.
Yes. Yeah. Good morning to everyone there. Yes.
Okay, take care.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Bye.